Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the Leviathans dev server, and I thought it would be right to have a look at the Leviathans themselves. So let's have a look at the big battleships that are coming, the big capital ships, and each nation in War Thunder that has a navy is getting one of these ships, which is actually really cool. So watch out for them. There's also at least one naval vehicle in the files. There is a Japanese one, which maybe we'll have a look at later on. But right now, let's just focus on these. So as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get started. The most important ship out of all of them is the first one we're going to be having a look at, and it is the PT-95. This is a coastal vehicle that is coming in for America. It's a rank 1 battle rating 1.7 little boy. It has a bit of wood armor, has some Mark 8 torpedoes, has a 20mm Oerlikon, and then also some 50 cals. So yeah, just a little bit of fun. You can find it in the coastal fleet between the PT-20 and the PC-451. So yeah, there you go. All right, on to the actual vehicles. So the first one we have is the USS Iowa. This is a capital battleship, which is coming in for the Americans. It is part, of course, of the Iowa class, and this is one of the earliest versions of it. So the Iowa was one of the longest serving battleships when it comes to, well, real life, and it went through a series of upgrades. This one is the 1944 version, so you don't have any of the crazy missiles or anything like that. You just have good old American guns, and those American guns are 3 triple mounts of 16-inch guns. These Mark 7 turrets. You have 2 on the front and then 1 on the back. And then in terms of secondary armaments, you have a bunch of 5-inch guns, 10 dual-mounted ones. You can see them all right here. And then also it has 19, yes, 19 quad 40mm Bofors. And you can see them in these like little mounts here. So you can see the dual ones, and then they basically just stick 2 of them together. You also have 52 single-mounted 20mm Oerlikons, which are here and all around the ship too. So in terms of AA firepower, you don't have a massive amount of huge guns, but you do have a million tiny guns, which is just insane. So yeah, just to also point something out, number one is they have massively reduced AA kind of accuracy of guns. So it will take you a bit longer to actually destroy aircraft with these types of things. So even though there's a metric amount of guns, like you can see here, just the general firepower of this thing with the 5 inches, with the 40s, with the 20s, and they will hit vehicles which are going in a straight line, but you can see that it's actually struggling to be able to hit it as well as it used to be able to in, you know, other updates. So yeah, pretty much as simple as that, right? So just to kind of take that into account when looking at this amount of AA armaments that's on the machines, they're not as useful as they used to be. Now, the Iowa is at rank 7. And in order to get access to it, you're going to have to research all of the rank 6s. So one thing to know, in order to get any of these ships at rank 7, you have to research all of the rank 6 vehicles, unless you have event vehicles. So for rank 6 America, you need to have 6 of them. For Germany, in order to get the Bismarck, you need 4 of the rank 6s. And then if you want to get the Soyuz, you need 4 once again. So everything basically is designed for you to have to grind through all of the tech tree in order to get access to these vehicles. Armor-wise, for the Iowa, not as impressive as other vehicles. And just remember, this is all subject to change. It has a 200mm belt, which is very light. It also has access to this 300mm kind of belt underneath. So don't be surprised when this is actually the proper one. And then also it has some nice front turrets. You have 254, but the main one is the 431mm that will be able to stop the shells. Then you also have a 439mm around your ammo elevators and also around the bridge, and general armor pieces that are all over this machine to try and keep it alive. These massive ships have a ton of ammunition in them, and also have a ton of engines, a massive amount of armor, and also a bunch of hydroplanes. By the way, this one gets a new hydroplane, which is really cool. We'll have a look at it later. But yeah, just to kind of give you a little inkling. Now, these 16-inch guns, they fire HE, which has 70 kilos of explosive mass and pens about 100. Then you have the APC-BC, which is the one that you'll actually use. Nearly 20 kilos of explosive mass, nearly 900 millimeters worth of penetration. Wow. 900 millimeters worth of penetration. 857 to be exact on the maximum amount, and around 800 for most of the distances. It is just kind of insane how much this is going to be able to penetrate stuff. Even at range, it's going to be able to go through pretty much everything. At 15,000, it still pens 583 millimeters. So that is pretty nuts in general. And I don't know about like you, but I'm very, very happy that they've added in these large machines. The next one is, of course, the Bismarck. The Bismarck is coming in, and this is another one of those iconic battleships that is turning up. If you want to see where it is in the tech tree, it is on the left-hand side of the German blue water tech tree after the Sachsen. But once again, you're going to have to grind out everything. This has the 380 millimeter guns, which have access to HE. They also have the APC-BC, and they have the good old standard HE with the base fuse and the HETF on the main guns. One of the things you may have also noticed for Naval is they've massively increased the battle ratings. So a lot of these new ships, the max battle rating nowadays is 8.7, but a lot of these new ships are kind of by themselves on this island. So for example, you have the 7.0 Sachsen and the Scharnhorst is 7.3, but the Bismarck is 8.3. So what this means is there's a massive gap between the new battleships and other battleships that are around. So if you're worried that these things are just going to kind of donk on everything, that's not going to happen because of the fact that there shouldn't be, they shouldn't see each other in the matchmaking. So in terms of the armor that is on the Bismarck, you have this kind of like outer shell once again, which gives you only 40 millimeters of protection. And then after that, it looks like they haven't actually modeled the armor yet. They seem to have done a bit of the turrets, but yeah, there isn't really a ton here. So we'll have to have a look later on to see if the armor profile is a bit better. Only 80 millimeters on the turret as well. So yeah, this is definitely not finished. Let's just put it like that. For secondaries, it has a bunch of 150s, 105s. It also has 37s and 20 millimeters that are all over the place. So once again, you can see the red. The red is ammo, and then also turrets. You can see this thing is covered in turrets all over the place. But the main ones being the 380s, where there's 4 dual-mounted sets, which is really cool. So another ship that just has a lot going for it. For Germany as well, I should say, sorry, because I was about to miss one. They also have the Gneisenau. The Gneisenau at the moment is at 7.7. The Gneisenau is a Scharnhorst. The only difference between it is the Gneisenau is the vehicle which got the refit. So there's technically, and I really mean this in quotations, there's technically 2 Gneisenaus. The Gneisenau is a Scharnhorst class ship, right? The one that existed is pretty much exactly the same as the Scharnhorst that we have in the tech tree. The Gneisenau that you see before you is the post-refit version. So the Gneisenau went to get refit to change the turrets to give it the bigger turrets, but it never actually got them in real life. So basically what this vehicle is what would have happened after the refit, but it never got there. Instead, they decided to stink it and then kind of get rid of it. So basically, this one has the big guns. It has the 380 millimeters, which pen a ridiculous amount and do a lot of damage. It's also the premium vehicle that you can get for the rank 6 area, which generally I think is kind of cool to see. So people can pre-order this, they can purchase it, and it's there and available. The next one we're going to have a look at is the Sovetsky Soyuz. So this is the paper vehicle that never existed, unfortunately, in the way that we see it in the game. And it's another rank 7 blue water vehicle. You can see it right here, the Sovetsky Soyuz. It's going to be at 8.7, so the top BR. And in order to get access to it, you're going to have to research all the rank 6 again. So it doesn't matter if you want to go down one line, you're going to have to research it all. So the Soyuz has access to the 406mm cannons. It also has access to the triple mounts. So you can see 2 on the front here and then 1 on the back. You also have a bunch of 152s, some dual mounts to those, and 4 dual 100s plus 8 quad 37s, which are in these kind of weird turrets that you can see here. So generally a very odd setup. So very, very weird. Then you have the 406mm cemented armor, plus some extra armor as it goes forward, and a little bit more standard 375. Then the turrets, 495 on them. Jesus. The 425 is also here. Then the 425 on the bridge too. And every little piece has its own little set of armor, so it would be very hard to penetrate and get through to them. What is kind of interesting about this, and I don't know whether this is supposed to happen, but my feeling is it's just once again not finished yet. You can see with the turrets that the shell rooms and the magazines don't actually line up with them. They're kind of by the side. But then again, I suppose when you don't actually fully build a ship, you can just make it up as you go along. But yeah, so they're not really connected. So we'll have to see how that goes on. So these 406mm guns, you have SAPCBC, which pens 620 with a lot of explosive mass. You can see that 88 kilos of explosive mass. Insane. And then you have the APCBC, which has 40 kilos of TNT equivalent and also pens 850. So very similar statistics to the Iowa, apart from it has double the amount of TNT in the rounds. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane for a vehicle like this. So it's going to put out a lot of damage. It's going to do a ton to other ships, and also at the same time, it has a really, really nice armor set on it, so it can survive a bit more than many others. So pretty nuts. Then you got the Sevastapol, another ship that wasn't finished. This is just a Kronstadt Project 69. So this one is very similar to this one that you can see here in the tech tree. There's not really much difference, apart from this has the different turrets. It has the 380mm once again, which are the same as the German ones that you can find over in the German tech tree. So yeah, basically you're getting the Gneisenau and you're getting the Sevastapol. They're very similar to each other in their general setups. This one will have okay armor, but the major reason why you pick this up is for research, and then also just the massive amount of massive amounts of armor penetration you're going to get at 7.3 for this type of vehicle. The next one is another battleship, and it is for Britain. You have the Vanguard, which is turning up. This is the 1946, the last battleship that Britain ever built and ever really developed. You can find it on the left-hand side of the tech tree after the Warspite, after researching all of rank 6 once again. This one is slightly worse than the others. It only has the 15-inch guns, the BL Mark 1s, which means it's 8.0, and also has the 5.25-inch guns, which you can see in these little turrets that you may remember from other machines that are in the game already. And then also it has a bunch of 40mm all over the vehicle, including some 10 sextuple 40mm, plus some duals and singles, which are all over the place. Now, this vehicle also has a realistic belt of 330 plus 381 back here near where the actual ammo is for the vehicles. So that's kind of nice. Doesn't get that on the front though, which is a little bit odd. So maybe they should kind of check that out. You also have a bunch of ammo in the bottom here under the turrets, because this vehicle actually existed and they need to model it properly, unlike certain other vehicles that exist, well, in the game. So you got the CPC round for the 15 inches. You have the APC BSA round for the 15 inches. And then also you have the Mark 22 BSC APC round as well. 20 kilos of TNT equivalent, 650 millimeters of pen on this one, 727. You can see that it's definitely a step below a lot of the other ones, but at the same time, Britain eventually, I'm sure, will get one which is nearly equal to the ones that they're adding in for everybody else. Then we have the big boy, the one that many have been looking forward to, the one that I would say is one of the poster childs of the update, the Yamato. The Yamato has huge guns, 460 millimeters. You have 3 triple mounts of them, so 2 on the front, 1 on the back, and that is supported by what can only be called a beehive of other guns. It has 2 triple mounted 155s, which are sat here. It also has 12 dual 5-inch guns sat around here, and then 50 25 millimeter triple mounts, 50, and then 2 dual 13.2 mounts. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. None of them are individually modeled yet, but I'm sure they will be. There's 660 millimeters of armor on the front of these turrets. You also have 560 millimeters around the ammo elevator, 500 on the bridge, 410 millimeters on the belt, and then also just a ridiculous amount of ammunition in here. Absolutely nuts when it comes to this vehicle. Now, the 460 millimeter guns, they have HE, which has 65 kilos of TNT, which has 73 millimeters of high explosive penetration. And then you have the APC-BC. So you don't have the crazy star round. You don't have anything like that. You just have a ridiculous amount of damage with 25 kilos and also 870 millimeters worth of penetration. So absolutely nuts on these guns. Absolutely crazy how much damage this thing is going to be able to do. And when it comes to the guns themselves, 1.6 rounds per minute. Now, just know that my kind of skills are not 100% right now, but that's basically what you're at. So when it comes to all the 25s and all the other guns, the good old 25s probably won't do too much, but at least they'll look pretty, and that's what matters, you know? And then when it comes to the guns, you know, you have some quite lovely sounding ones, which will end up just like firing at many, many different things. Not too shabby. So yeah, the gun sound is really nice on this, and I'm very, very happy that it's finally here so people can enjoy it. It's also at 8.7, and just to show you, it's on the left-hand side of the tech tree after the Fuso. So you'll have to research these. You can actually see they've moved up a lot of these in BR as well, trying to decompress this area, which is pretty cool. For Italy, they have the Roma, which is another 8.0. This one has the 381mm guns, 3 triple mounts of them, 2 on the front and then 1 on the back. It also has 4 triple 152mm and Saldo Mod 34s, plus a bunch of 120s, 90s, 37s, and 20s. And I've got to say, Italy, you make the ugliest turrets known to man. Right? Okay. Let's see if I can just find it. Might be a little bit too close. Like, what are these? What are these? What are you doing? Why did they look like this? It's so ugly. Insanely ugly on this ship. But anyway, it has a bunch of secondaries. And also, it doesn't have as big guns as some other nations, only 381s, which have access to the SAPC-BC, the semi-armor piercing capped ballistic cap shell, with 30 kilos of explosive mass and only 390 penetration. But then you have this one, which has a lot more penetration, 771 on the APC-BC. But it only has 10 kilos of explosive mass. which is so much less than everybody else. So you'll be able to penetrate with the Roma, but you won't be able to actually do any damage. Kinda sucks. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem with this machine. If you want to get the Roma though, it's on the left-hand side after the Conti di Cavour. It does have some pretty interesting armor layouts on it, including only a 70mm setup, at least on the outside. You also have some 15 here. On the turret fronts, 380, but on the bridge, 280. So I don't think this is the full amount. You can see here, there is actually a plate underneath, which is 280mm, which still isn't fantastic compared to everything else. Then we have the French boy, the Richelieu, which has a lot of fun guns all on the front of it. This has 2 quad mounts of 380mm, plus it has all of the other ones in the booty. You have 3 triple mounts of 152s. You have 6 dual mounts of 100s, which are right here. You also have 14 quad 40mm Bofors, and then also 50 single 20mm, because why not, you know? If you're gonna do guns, make sure you have a lot of them. I really like how the front of this here, you can see that they've actually made an arrow with all of the 20mm, which I just think it looks really cool. So yeah, another machine with 380mm guns, another machine with quite a lot of armor on the side, only 330. Then the ammo elevators, 405. Then you have also 430mm on the front of the turrets and 340mm on the bridge. In terms of the ammo for these things, you have massive ammo loadouts in the front, and because all the main guns are in the front, you also have some increased armor on the front to try and keep it going. So 355 here, 233 here, and then also the additional 170mm above the ammo. So a very heavily armored front compared to a lot of the other machines that you'll see, or maybe I should say heavy concentration of armor at the front compared to other areas. Then for the actual guns, you have 380mm HE with 62 kilos of explosive mass. You have the APC BC with 20 kilos of TNT equivalent plus 700mm of pen. Then you have 20 kilos with 730mm of pen on the APC BC. So once again, double the amount of TNT equivalent as the Italians and very similar penetration, which is why the Roma will struggle compared to others. This one also has the 1.5 rounds reload, which is quite nice, and also pretty maneuverable too. So as you can see, every nation in this update is getting massive battleships. A lot of people have been asking for these for a long time, so it's time for them to come to the game. Hopefully people appreciate them. Hopefully people enjoy them. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Warthunder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.